Hello everyone, we're continuing with our math lessons, and today we're going to talk about the equality. The equality is the big function base of a lot of upper level math. Equalities tell us that something equals something else, and often you're going to see that denoted with this sign, an equals sign. That equals sign says that there's something on one side, over on this, and that is going to be the equivalent of something on the other. And understanding what that entails and what that means is so crucial for your upper level mathematics studies. And it's one of the problems that when I tutor high school students, it's one of those ones that really catches people off guard because they forget to do certain steps. And so just demonstrating what that is simply, imagine if you had 5 on one side. If you had 5 on one side, and you said 5 equals 5. You'd say, well, of course, Jamie, that's kind of obvious. 5 equals 5. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots, it's the same as if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. That is the same thing. It's one side and the other. I said, yes, it's correct. But what would happen if suddenly I said, okay, well, we had 5 equals 5, and then suddenly I said, okay, well, now one side is going to be 10. Well, that changes what this is because now we have something different on this side. So we have to take a look and say, okay, what happened here? What happened here is we had a multiplication times 2 because we know that 5 times 2 equals 10. So in this case, we said, okay, we're going to multiply this side by 2. We said, all right, we're going to multiply this side by 2, and that's going to give us 10. Well, if we have the same equation, and we just multiplied this side by 2, we still have right here that this equals 5. Well, 5 does not equal 10. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 does not equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 little dots on this side. There's 5 over here. That does not equal the same thing. There's twice the amount. So what does that mean? You're probably already thinking about it. Well, if what we did over here got us 10, we have to go from this 5 and multiply it out the same way we did it. So if this is equal to 10 now because we multiplied it by 2, then we have to go over here and say, okay, we have to go 5. We have to multiply it by 2. 5 times 2. And then that's going to give us what? 10. Exactly. 10 equals 10. Well, that makes sense. We have 10 on one side, we have 10 on the other, they look the same. Okay, we have an equality. The principle I'm trying to communicate here is that what you do to one side, you have to do to the other to keep the same equation. To make this an equality, to make it equal, you have to make sure that you're keeping everything even. So, for example, if we had that, 5 equals 5 kind of thinking again, right? We say 5 equals 5. If we multiply both of these sides by, let's just say, 3 instead, right? That's going to give us 3 times the 5 over here. It's going to give us 3 times the 5 over here. Well, 5 times 3 equals 15. Why? Because we have 5, 5, and 5, plus, plus, plus. We're saying, okay, it's like saying there's 3 5s. 3 5s over here. That gives us 5 plus 5 plus 5. So that gives us our 15 equals 15. See how we could do ones to one side what we also do to the other? That's the principle that has to be kept throughout. If we're to keep the equality intact, if we're going to have an equality that is to hold true and that is to be able to be used to come out with a correct answer, we need to make sure that what is done to one side is done to the other and that it stays the same. So always remember that. Always remember that equality means it has to equal what the outcome is if you did something to one side. That includes division. So if you had, if you had 10 equals 10, and you said, okay, I'm going to divide by 2, well, that gives us 5. Okay, well, 10 does not equal 5. No, right? We have to divide this by 2 as well if we're going to keep this equality. So dividing by 2 gives us 5. And of course, that will get to more complex things down the road when you're doing algebra 1 and 2. If you had x equals 4 plus 1, and we can count real quick, that says, if x equals 5, well, if we took this and we said, okay, we're going to multiply this x by 3x, what do we have to do to this side? We got to do the same. We got to multiply 4 plus 1 times 3. So in this case, we have 4 plus 1 is 5 times 3 equals 15. So 3x equals 15. Why? Because we know from before that x had equaled 5. So we're like saying we have 3 5s. So what's 5 plus 5 plus 5? That gives us 15. So just keep that in mind. Always remember, grill it into your head. You're going to need to know this for the rest of your math studies career, that the equality must be kept and you must do what you do to one side to the other if you wish to maintain the integrity that is the completeness of that equality.